Oh God, it left hard. All right, I did red light and roll through it, but when I let off the two-step, it left hard. But I immediately went right. All right, and then I got out of it and then got back into it. I'm turning left and it's going right. Yeah, I haven't. We literally pulled it off the dyno. I haven't changed anything. We pulled it off the dyno, washed the car, and put it on the trailer. You know, so nothing's been touched on it. That's literally, we changed the oil in it when we got here.
Is your front travel and stuff like that the same, like if you jacked it up and everything?
I have not.
It has the same amount of travel on both sides. It does not have much. The way that this thing's set up with the little short control arms.
Yeah.
It's got travel limiters on it too.
Where's your travel limiter set over there?
I gotta smudge it.
It's in the top hole on the bracket.
This one's in the second hole.
Well, that's a problem.
It's not straight up and down either. I mean,
It's in the second hole.
Well, you did that.
They had to move that.
I guess. You were
They adjust camber on this thing?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they moved that.
It looks like this has been in the second hole before. I mean, you see the mark where the washer was.
Well, let's move that.
That needs to be moved. That side needs to be moved to the second hole.
The lower control arm, so when the suspension separates, that cable controls how much it can separate. You know, as it become tight. Both sides need to match. They probably had this off, you know, to what he's saying when they done the alignment, they had to take, if they made an adjustment here, you know, they had to unbolt this and then turn the heim and then put it back together. So the alignment shop probably put that back in the wrong hole.
We're here in Bowling Green. We came out here to LS Fest. I don't generally go to LS Fest because I don't have an LS, but we came out this weekend to help Thomas West with the LS powered Civic. A lot of people know the car. It's been around forever. Call it the Civette. He's been changing some things, going through, did a rewire on the whole car, I guess recently. Changed a lot of things, hoping to get, you know, some fast stick shift passes. He's running one of our tick-built transmissions. It's a Liberty faceplated setup, you know, T56. And basically, the whole car is it's a Honda Civic, obviously hatchback, but the wheel openings have been stretched, and a couple things have been modified with the body, and essentially it's a C5 Corvette. So, torque tube, transmission in the rear, you know, C5 diff, the whole 9 yards. So we came out and working on his tune. We actually did some remote tuning earlier this week. He just got the car together, like I said. So we just came out to help him work through the bugs, you know, kind of get the car going down the track, get him used to the car, that kind of stuff.
Just a two-step, or you want to just take it up there and see what it does?
We can test it right now.
Go ahead and test that. I want to make sure the data log works too. Like it's going to leave on about 6 pounds, so I mean, hopefully it'll go. It might dog down if it looks, until we get a clean pass.
I guess basically all I did was take out the scroll and put the mattress in.
Get him.
it's open.
Made a decent pass. I mean, it went straight, you know, enough that he could stay in it. Ran a 10.
How many fucking gas?
6, I think, like 140-ish mile per hour. Wasn't a super clean pass. He missed third gear.
Had 30-inch tires on it.
60 foot was decent, but it looked like it shook the tire. So we're gonna put a little more air pressure in the tires. Get ready for today along. Just see what that looked like. We turned it down a good bit from where we dynoed it, just to, you know, kind of make sure that we did get a full pass in, just so we could get some data. Now, depending on how all that looks, we'll turn it up a little bit more.
Great. It went straight. It felt strong, other than when I missed the gear.
The distance off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it felt really good. It went straight. No complaints. I just didn't make all the gears and stuff.
Once your ball's dropping, you won't miss third.
Yeah, when you shift it, I mean, if you want to shift it without using the clutch, like we're doing it,
Right.
all you do, as soon as you take off, just pull the stick a little bit. I mean, you ain't gotta like try to break it off, but put some pressure on it. As soon as it hits the cut, bam, it'll go right to the next gear, the cleanest you've ever seen. And then, you know, once you're in second, you start pushing it like you're gonna push it to third. And as soon as it hits the cut, it's gonna go.
Gotcha.
But the thing with yours having 5th and 6th gear in it is you don't never want to put it back to first. You know what I mean? That's a bad day. But if you put too much pressure on it, like you're preloaded, so you might have trouble.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 1 to 2nd without touching the clutch. And I just feel safer with having 3rd and 5th there and missing it if I clutch. That way it's open so I can find the gear. You know, so I'm going to do 2nd.
What do you gain from that? If he's doing a cut, it's the same thing as you do clutch.
I try to do it.
Just don't try to like really push the shifter hard. I mean, you got to feel it.
Right.
Put some pressure on it, and when it hits the cup, it's gonna go.
All right.
And if you go too slow, it'll be like you've seen that time. Like if you're not pulling on it, it's gonna give you like a half a second or a quarter of a second before the RPM falls enough that the ignition comes back on.
Yeah.
And then if the ignition comes back on and you ain't in it yet,
And see, that's
it's gonna go.
That's what happened when I went 2nd to 3rd. I went too slow.
Yeah.
Like I was waiting on it, and I went 2nd to 3rd, and I went too slow, and I popped. So then I clutched and got it into 3rd, and then kept going up the track.
During a burnout, that could come down.
Yeah, I know. You have to trim some of this off. I pull it loose, cut that off, put that nut back on, loosen that. So I mean, you get it where you got more of this going and it's got a little bit slack.
So what happened last pass?
Car rolled through the staging beams because he's having an issue with his staging devices. So we changed a few things around where he's just going to hold the line lock with a button now. Try to get through the weekend, I guess. Car just dead hooked and bogged really hard. He missed 3rd gear again. So not a good pass, but figured it out.
I got zip tied on.
So when's the next pass?
It should be coming up soon because I think he's testing in a different class, or he's registered for 2 classes, or maybe tested 2 and stick. So that pass was just the test pass, so it should be coming up on the qualifying pass real soon. We're still trying to get it to launch. The throttle's not being held down, I think, when it's on the 2-step, and the target, like the launch boost, is not what the tune says it should be. So I'm going to do some diagnostics to try and figure out if the throttle has anything to do with that, because I've never seen or had anybody that, you know, the throttle didn't get held all the way down, so I don't know what happens if you do that. Anytime it's on the trans brake, the dome pressure, which is what's controlling the boost, should be what the tune is commanded, but it's not, and I don't know why, but it left on very low boost, you know, that time. There's more than that problem, so I'm going to test a few things here. You know, following our boost curve. Okay. A minute ago on that pass, the target dome, while he was staging, it was 5 or 5 or 5 and it wasn't for having like I had it set. He wasn't on the throttle. Like, see, I'm throttle 99%. See, I was throttle. He was on like 70%.
So that's probably gonna make it re-proportionate. Right?
I'm gonna try it now, like if I don't press it all the way, and see what target dome does.
Listening?
Now, what was that?
You gotta press the gas pedal all the way.
You're not pressing the gas pedal all the way to the floor.
When you're staging, you're like 60 and 70% throttle, and I think that's not letting it have the target dome of what we want it to be at all.
Gotcha.
Just make sure you push the pedal through the floorboard, push it down in there.
I got you. All right. Hey.
Once you get down track, you hold it down. But like the staging and most of first gear, you're 60-70% throttle. And I think that's monkeying with how. I mean, it shouldn't. I wouldn't think so, but we're gonna find out now. I'm gonna test it like as if I don't push it all the way and actually see
So,
what happens.
if I would have had that dome pressure on, I would have walked that dude down.
Oh yeah, what am I mean, you went through the finish line with like 4 on the dome instead of 22. So I mean,
So
you left much more than
18 pounds of boost on the table.
So it was baby freight training. It could have been
baby freight.
It had a little bit of dome in first gear because of whatever was left in the line.
Yeah.
But once it overshot and tried to purge it, to maintain a few times,
Yeah.
it just trended down and couldn't feel it.
My hand a little bit, and that wham! I mean, it was hauling, dude. It was going.
They said you're qualified 10th as of right now, so.
Huh?
They said you're qualified 10th as of right now. Or as of that, before that run.
Well, hell, I can still run then.
Yeah.
I think it's trying a little bit. It was a dope ass stuff though.
All right, 2-step. Everybody was like, yeah! I just put on a smoke show. You did.
So, what happened?
A lot of the same. This just bogs off the start line. It's got an extremely aggressive, non-adjustable clutch, and it's just not really a lot of give in the clutch, and it keeps hooking, so it just bogs. So we got to get it to spin a little bit. Just keep up in the RPM on the launcher, adding power if we can, until the point that it takes it. So, or hopefully nothing breaks. But it's just hard to work with a clutch that's so super aggressive. So it is what it is. We'll make the best of it.
Today's Sunday actually would be eliminations, but it's raining right now. So we loaded the next update to the tune in hopes that he gets to make a pass today. My personal goal was just to get the car to run, mid-9s. The rear gear in the car is not really correct for, going super fast yet. We're just working our way up to it. But the car I kind of figured would go hopefully a 950 at 150. That was kind of my personal goal with the tuning. Thomas obviously wants to go super fast. And I think that's going to come with time, but I wanted to get seat time, just get him used to the car. And then on our last qualifying effort yesterday, we didn't actually make it to first round yesterday, I think, as they would have normally scheduled, just because of rain delays yesterday as well. But the last round of qualifying that we got in the car, it ran a 954, something like that. So it pretty much met our goal. I think it went 158 mile per hour, and the car has a ton left.
What'd you change? What's going on?
Well, we're still having the trouble with the two-step being deactivated because it's on a button. You know, he's using his hand, and so what we changed is, you know, this is a super lightweight car. It's got a lot of engine in it. You know, it's capable of making a ton of power. Even if it didn't have turbos, it'd probably make a lot of power. So instead of him trying to adjust his procedure of letting go of the button sooner, just throwing another variable at us, I decided we'd just kind of let it launch as if it were an NA car, because it should still go a good 60, and then the boost will just roll in. So we're turning the launch RPM up. We basically took a lot of the timing retard out of it for the boost builder, which is what, you know, is killing us, because when the button isn't released, it still has super low timing. So that takes all that out of the equation. It'll just leave like it's leaving on a couple of pounds of boost maybe. Hopefully it'll go down the track. Once it gets rolling, the boost will come in, and it should be a lot faster than it's been so far. We'll see.
It's almost like he's a shipment there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like the floater or something got warped maybe last night when he's trying to bump it in, and it wasn't bumping in, and it must have got, maybe it got real hot and it's warped it or something. I mean, it's disengaging, but it's just barely disengaging enough to get it in gear. Like, you can't get it in reverse. It ain't disengaging enough if you get it in forward, because it's space right. I mean, that's all you can do. It's still out there. Because we adjusted that up.
As far as
And I mean, it's.
Did it make it a little bit better?
I don't think so. Is it like when the pedal comes up? I mean, it comes up, you know, quite a bit before it really would start to go. Something in there must be warped, and it's just like where it's warped, it's constantly just barely dragging.
Yeah, it's still torque tube set up, so.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like the clutch, the steel between the two discs or something.
Oh,
the disc or the floater plate or something.
This twin disc,
got,
right, yeah.
got warped or tweaked. Probably because where you were struggling to get it to bump in or pull in, you probably got it super hot or something.
Terrific. We got more drag race action, all of it happening here at LS Fest, presented by eBay Motors.
Woo! Close one. God damn. There's the shit thing on.
The line lock had an issue with how it was plumbed. It technically worked, but the line lock wouldn't flow basically the way a line lock works is it will flow fluid in one direction even when it's powered, but then it keeps it from returning. And since it was plumbed backwards, even though the solenoid would power up, it wouldn't hold. So he was having trouble with the car trying to roll through the beams. And on the pass it went 950. The car probably went faster than a 950, and he really just got lucky that the tree, that everything activated and it turned green before he rolled out of the beam, because that was our other struggle. But the other car, it staged at basically the same time, and he managed to get a green light before he rolled out of the beam, and the car kind of continued to roll before he took off. He didn't have a great reaction time. So just judging from what mile per hour and how the car looked, it looked like it was should have been a 140, maybe high 130, 60. So we're thinking it really probably would have went like a 930. It's just that he didn't take off exactly when the green came on. We think he rolled through the beam and there was like a pause, and then he took off. So the car had
It was just, we were all overwhelmed with joy, especially me. I was jumping up and down. I never in a million years thought it would go that fast. And Jonathan, when we came back to the trailer, Jonathan was like, all right, it's go time now. We're the second fastest on the track and we can win this thing. So we need to start having some real conversations about things and correct some things that you're doing wrong on the track. He had the laptop pulled up right away and he's like, this. We all need to fix that. We need to focus on those issues right there. And he said, honestly, I could leave it where it's at on the power band and not push it, and you win the thing. But he was like, hey, it's got plenty of power in it. He said, I just want to gradually go up and take baby steps, so that way we're going down the track, we're being safe, and we're thinking about things and making the corrections as we go. But it was like, man, we can win this thing. So we made all kinds of adjustments that night, talked about a lot of things, and then unfortunately they called it in the end. Future plans are to go fast, so did some talking with Jonathan. We're gonna, like I said, it's at Joel's shop right now, and he's making some adjustments that Jonathan wanted to happen, such as the two-step being on the pedal, a clutch lockout, and some other things that I really need to go fast. When we first built the car, we built it as a street car. So this thing has power windows, it's all glass, it's all steel, it's got turn signals, it's got a license plate on the back, it's titled, you can drive it down the road, so it still has a 6-speed in it. Jonathan's like, now that we're at this point, it's really got potential to go extremely fast. So over the winter, we need to go to a 4-speed and drop a gear in the rear end and, make the changes like that. And then we'll test that out, continue to go fast with it. And then after that, maybe the next season, we'll talk about pulling the engine out, putting a solid roller in it. That way we can really spend some RPMs in the car. And then who knows where it's going to go from there, especially if we can get enough seat time and really show what it's about. If we can dip into the 7s with it, with the 4-speed and a lower gear and stuff of that nature, with a different engine setup, we really have an opportunity to try and jump into the 6s and compete with the big dogs. As of right now, we were talking about trying to get into Florida 2K with it here in a couple weeks. So Joel's going to try and pull some strings. He knows some guys down there. They're actually sold out right now. But he's going to try and get me in if somebody drops out. That's why we're making the changes right now. We have street car takeover coming up in Alabama in about 3 weeks. So if we're not able to make it to Florida, we'll probably go to street car takeover down there. And then from then on, we're just going to start, now that we know we actually got a car that will go down the track and work correctly, we're going to continue to hit events. So anything that comes up, especially with stick shift classes, we're going to try and make it until the season's over with. That way we can really, put some time in the car, get some seat time in it, learn some things, before we start making the 4-speed swap along with the rear end swap and stuff of that nature. The biggest thing is just learn to drive the car right now.